I feel your pain, Zach. I feel the pain of the woman who trusted Vasata. I feel the pain of the youths who went out and voted for Vasata, let alone this current government. Why? Because we sold them what we knew.
So I can learn how to love.
Artists, how are you going to arrive at who is going to be given this money? What are you trying to promote?
So I'm sure therein lies a problem where you don't even know who you're going to
my
give the money
point,
to.
First of all. Second of all, do the artists have a studio where they can rush to? A government or parastatal studio where they can say, I can go and record my music for free there. Or I can go and build something there. No, they have to hire studio time. If there are mistakes, they have to go back. That 30,000 kwacha per youth, it's a drop in the ocean. We're not being proactive. We're being reactive because there's a problem. No, no, it's like umwana alila sweet Zax. Mampela ka sugar mukanwatino talalako. That's not the way you solve economic problems. It's not. And Vasata knew that. That is why that man, we miss him, some of us, because he used to listen. Even with his very humble education, Vasata used to listen. He could argue with you, but he could listen. The problem we have right now is there's a bit of arrogance in some of the ministers today. There's a bit of arrogance at the secretariat of the party. People think they know it all. No. Ask, and you shall be educated.
Have you ever tried to advise the current regime?
Many times, Zax. Even here, this book has reached His Excellency the President. I sent a copy to him. I sent a copy to his economic advisor. I sent a copy to his political advisor then, Kaiser Zulu. Have they read it? Ask them. It's a good question, you ask them. I am not worried about who implements what's in here. No, come on. Give it out. It's out there. Employ it. Use it. If you don't want to use it, don't say I have no ideas. No, I've given you my ideas. I have never seen anybody castigate me, criticize me on what I've put in this book. Nobody. Not even the opposition. Not just PF, not even the opposition. Some people will say, I've seen adverts. No, someone will fix it, someone will fix it. Fix what? I have said how I'm going to fix it. The person you're saying will fix it. Has he told you how he's going to fix it? When you're dealing with economic issues, Zax, we should be serious. It is not just a question of saying, I'll fix it. Fix what? Have you done the research? I have. Have you identified the problem properly?
But, I mean, politicians, they come up with things that people can buy into. You know, simplicity, you know, simple things. I'll do this, I'll do that. And Zambians buy into
that. Is why
that's why we're here.
With the greatest of respect, we cannot oversimplify a big problem such as the economic problem we're faced up with. 4 million jobs for the youths is not a simple matter. And I'm dead serious about creating those jobs. I know how, and we have friends. We have started pushing that agenda already. This is a blueprint for the rapid economic transformation of this country. To transform, first of all, it attacks your ignorance. It damages your ignorance, puts ideas into you. You get excited. Anyone who has read this book, Zach, is not the same. Anyone. I challenge you to read it. You will not be the same. I know you've read number 1. Read number 2. Is Bruce Lee reloaded? Enter the dragon.
Because somebody would say you're part of a regime that came into power by telling us we're going to be paying lower taxes, more money in our pockets.
Thank you.
That is just a dream.
No,
they sold us a dream. Here we are.
No, Zach.
With so much to complain and
exactly.
We're hating.
And I feel your pain, Zach. I feel the pain of the woman who trusted Vasata. I feel the pain of the youths who went out and voted for Vasata, let alone this current government. Why? Because we sold them what we knew. But here's a problem. Some of us who sat in the boardroom, my particular boardroom at my office, to plan for this country, what we intended to do, are not in this government. You go and bring people from outside who are not there in the planning phase. You expect them to understand what we planned. What do they know? They've come with their corrupt minds. They've come with their corrupt ideas. So what do they bring? They bring corruption. Honestly, you kick out MMD, you bring them back. The roundabout manner. How do you expect to get rid of corruption? Why? Why did we bring them back? Are we short of leadership? No. It's for the convenience of somebody. Now that is not me. I am saying the dream that we had, the vision that we had, can still be relived. In fact, in this book, I am saying it's lower taxes reloaded. More money in your pockets reloaded. Because what I've put in this book, Zambia Must Prosper Too, is achievable and it can be done. This is a social science. Politics is a social science. I'm a social scientist myself. It's empirical data gathered here.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, are we at the threshold of being sold another dream by people telling us they'll do this and that, and well, knowing that they won't even live to what they're saying, just because they want to occupy office and they tell us what we want to hear?
No, Zach.
They thrive on that.
I am a believer. I'm a Christian, and I believe in one scripture, Habakkuk 2 verse 2. Write the vision down, make it clear. My vision is right here. It is clear. You can hold me accountable to Zambia Must Prosper Too. From a spiritual perspective, a moral perspective, a political perspective, and an economic perspective. That is my vision. It's right here. I have seen no other politician who has put his vision down and claimed he can do it, except for Basata when we did it with him. No other politician.
This is a hot set. Now let's talk about the issue of Bill 10, which was supposed to be debated in Parliament last month, was postponed to allow parliamentarians to adapt to the new environment at Parliament. What is your view on the bill which some stakeholders want withdrawn?
Bill 10.
Yes, the issue of Bill 10.
In a nutshell, Zach, Bill 10, with the greatest respect to the people that want it, is a waste of time, a waste of resources, a waste of focus, a waste of energy. Right now, we have more serious, pertinent problems to attend to than Bill 10. Bill 10 has got hidden agendas. And the agendas, I'll say this, are not noble, and they're not good for the Zambian people. In the current form, no. It should not even visit Parliament anymore. Let it die.
Now, when you say hidden agendas, what agendas would you say are hidden there?
Anyone who has read Bill 10 will understand. But recently, my young brother, Brian Munduvile, chairperson, legal, in the PF, said that they must get rid of Article 52 because it will block Balungu from standing. Now, if that's not an innuendo telling you something, then you must be blind. Why do they want Article 52 removed? I'm giving you an example. Why do they want that particular article removed? Because it's very clear what it's bound to do. And it's in tandem with the PF Constitution, if you allow me to read. When you read on the qualifications of a president, for example, and members of Central Committee, one of the qualifications of the president of the PF, once elected, is that he must qualify to stand in the Republican Constitution clauses. He must qualify. You must be a Zambian, you must be above 35, elected at a conference or convention, but you must also qualify in the Republican Constitution. Now, the Republican Constitution, as you know, is flying in the teeth of a certain candidate. So they want Article 52 removed so that you're only able to challenge after his election.
So that's the only thing?
No, there are lots of things. I've given you an example. Bill 10 is another subject, Zach. You need 2 hours to invite me here to discuss Bill 10. But I've given you the core of an innuendo which they want to bring hidden. We can't allow that. I will not be part of an illegality.
So when we look at the current situation, it's in its current form, do you think it has lacunas? Do they need to be addressed before the next general elections? Or we can go with it just the way it is and there won't be any,
On the 5th of January 2016, my president, Edgar Chagwalungu, proudly rode into the Hero Stadium and signed this current constitution, amended constitution. 5th of January 2016, hardly 4 years, 5 years. We want amendments. For what? This constitution is good enough. Let's go with it. If we need to change the constitution, let it be another time.
The issue of the 14 days,
it's a waste of time.
It's neither here nor there.
It's a smoke screen, Zach. It's a smoke screen. It's for small minds. Huh? We don't need this right now. The resources being spent on Bill 10 can be spent creating jobs for the youth. The resources being used, we are hearing now, to corrupt opposition leaders. Come on, let's be serious.
So what confusion can Bill 10 then bring in the country if we went ahead with it?
The confusion? Really? Are you asking?
I'm asking.
Give me another program, sir. Give me another program. But I've given you one. There can be anarchy in this country if we're not careful. Because people who think they will not be allowed to do certain things, they'll be going on the streets. It's not allowed. Let's just be normal and reasonable people. We have a constitution, a functioning constitution. There's nothing urgent about amending the current constitution. Why are we in the rush? What's the point? What's the rush? We're dealing with the law. It's not. Let me tell you something which maybe Zambians may not understand. The 1964 Zambian constitution, we never elected a president. It may come as a surprise to some people. But this is Constitutional Law 120 at law school. We never elected Kenneth David Kaunda to be the president. Kenneth David Kaunda was imposed on us. Because he came as a president named in the Constitution by the Brits. We had a lot of people looking around to tell us what their interest was at the Lancashire discussions, historically. We had the nationalists who just wanted power for the sake of power. The colonialists, the National Party at the time, wanted two things in that constitution. One, a referendum clause. Number two, property rights to be embedded in the constitution. And obviously civil rights, which is Bill part 3 of the constitution. They insisted on that. Then you had the Barotse, the Lewanika kingdom, who said no, the king in the Barotse area must control the waters, the timber, the fishes, and some of the minerals up to Nkana in Kitwe. They thought because he stood on an anthill and said Fale, it meant that far. And the Muzungus thought his kingdom reigned up to that point. So these interest groups were taken care of and were given this constitution. What happened in 1969? KK came up with a referendum to end all referendums, except not to touch the Bill of Rights. That's the problem. This is history, read it. Now we have allowed every president who walks in there to amend any part of this constitution. No, we should go back to the 1964 constitution. You don't touch the constitution. It's such a sacred document that you don't just amend it. If you want to amend any portion,
but why
must go for a referendum.
Why have we allowed them piecemeal changes here and then suiting a person who's ruling us? It happened in 1996.
No. Go back to 1971, when the one-party participatory democracy was introduced by KK. It started then, when he killed the referendum. Because any change in the constitution needed a referendum. KK came and said, no, I'm abolishing all political parties. There shall only be one political party. Therein lies the problem.
So
now,
presidents have been allowed
since
to
then,
the Constitution.
every president who comes in sees the advantage and he thinks he can touch the constitution, massage it to suit himself. We should go back to that pre-independence stature and say, for any amendment in the Constitution, we must hold a referendum. Not just Bill 10, no something commission, no. It is too important a document to be left to the fancies and whims of individuals called members of parliament or NDC, NFC, not NDC, but some confusion, NCC, something. No,
but parliamentarians, it's not their right. And
to do what? To do what?
I mean, to make laws.
To make laws,
laws.
not to amend the constitution at will and will. No. Any act of parliament, they're allowed. No one is going to stop that. But the Constitution's Act, I'm talking about the Constitution. To touch the Constitution,
supreme law of
the Grundnorm that gives the foundation of every other law, you don't just amend it. No, you don't. You must be serious. Half those people in parliament there, some of them don't even know what they read. I'm sorry to insult some of them, but I know it's a fact. I know the history of some of these people we call ministers today. I know where they came from. You remember before 2016, the old man was saying, my MPs are useless. Some of them are back there. The same useless people. Let's be serious. These are politics. We need a certain level of understanding. It's not just being a minister does not make you a leader. I'm sorry, my brother. Status is not leadership.
It's just a...
It's a status symbol.
That's all.
No, it doesn't make you a leader.
It's just a position.
It's just a position. That doesn't make you a leader. No, I'm not moved because someone holds a position. I am moved by the quality of discourse that I'm going to have with somebody. The quality of interaction I'm going to have with somebody. The kind of interaction and discussion I'm going to have with somebody. The mindset is what I'm interested in. Some of these people, they've come here, they've told you, I'm number one bootlicker. You want to hear that from a minister? Let's be real. Is that the quality we're talking about?
At least they're honest that they're bootlickers.
That's my point. But if you're a bootlicker, keep it in your mind. We don't want to hear it. Pretend you can think. Pretend. You know, there's a saying that when a fool keeps quiet, even the wise men think he's wise. But when you speak, hallelujah, at least you've told us who you are.
Now, recently, the president was booed somewhere in Monze, southern province. Would you say, is that a sign of dissatisfaction among Zambians over his leadership? Or, I mean, is there anything wrong for people to react in such a manner?
The president was booed. Yes and no. Again, history will guide here, Zach. Look, I was at university when we pelted, booed, and scorned Kaunda with eggs, banana peels, and whatever. He was coming to watch a football match. He still watched the football match.
And it depends.
Magnanimously. He sat and watched the whole game, shook the hands of each player, and kicked the ball to start the game.
Like nothing had
like
happened.
Nothing had happened. That is leadership. Booing a president is an expression of your will. You're trying to show that you are an individual, a person who's not happy about something. Booing by itself is not an insult, but it is trying to convey a message to somebody that I'm not happy about something. Now, I remember I saw a clip of Honorable Jack Mwimbu, and I think was it Honorable Garin Kombo. They were complaining about certain acts that were done in their so-called stronghold before the presidential visit. The pulling down of UPND flags, defacing of some of their campaign regalia, etc. And you don't expect when you annoy people like that to go in and they should be clapping for you. No. They were reacting because they were angered by something. That is the way I understood it. And for me, I expected the president to go in there, commission the homes or the houses for the police, and come out and be presidential about it. Laugh about it. All this talk of no, HH cannot go here, HH cannot go in this part of the country, we are overreacting.
And if somebody says no, lines have been drawn.
Which
now,
lines?
So
we are one Zambia, one nation.
They also won't be allowed to
please
to campaign and do something. What kind of leadership is
this? This is ignorance of the West order. Any Zambian is allowed to visit any part of the country. There is an AGM for the Law Association of Zambia going on in Southern Province in Livingstone this weekend. I can go to last.
So the PF, the PF cadres who feel no, that was disrespect of the highest level. They shouldn't do that to their president. They feel angered, so they want to react. What would you say to them?
My advice both to the Patriotic Front and the UPND cadres is calm down. Take an Ebola punch. This country does not belong to UPND alone. This country does not belong to PF alone. It belongs to every Zambian. And every Zambian has a right to speak his mind, visit, do what he wants, conduct his business without you interfering with his space. Having said that, the two parties must stop being aggressive against each other. They should not promote anarchy. There is no need.
But who's to blame for that? I
You
mean,
must
too much
fight.
violence
No.
in this country.
You must fight, but fight with your mind. Fight with your mind.
So it should be a battle of minds.
Battle of minds.
Not the
battle.
physical.
No. I'm not interested in fighting myself. If your ideas are far much better than me, I'll salute you. I'll salute you. And I'll tell you you're better than me. But I am not going to sit and allow people to get physical when there's no need to get physical. Anyone who says anything against President Lungu, you must rise up. President Lungu is protected by the police, the army, the air force. He's protected. He doesn't need
So it's not
cadres.
your job
It's not
as
your
a
job
cadre.
to do it. No. Kanganja is there, the IG.
He's got state security.
He can do what he wants to do. He can go watch the videos, and if they think this was over the board, they can arrest those individuals. That's it. But to say that those people cannot protest, no.
But who gives the cadres so much power?
It is the politicians. They have not educated their cadres
From
as to
both
their-
divides,
From
isn't it?
both sides. Both sides. And that's what I'm saying. They should not promote anarchy in this country. Some of us are civilized human beings. We want to be civil in our conduct. We want to understand that UPND, PF, NDC, PDP, whichever, they can coexist for the sake of this nation. And as long as you've got the best brains running the government, let it be. That's it.
This is the hot seat, and shortly we'll be opening the lines. Now, the presidency has come under criticism again after it emerged that the photos that were used on the Facebook page for the Kafiwa Mazabuka Road were plagiarized. Are the president's handlers doing their job, or where are we going? You know, it's like a circle sometimes. You know?
Zach, that's a very good question, but I cannot speak for the handlers of the president. I'll leave it there because that's their job.
Okay.
And I'm very good at reading social media every so often, and I'm glad. I think the president was magnanimous to admit that there was a wrong post, which is good. He came out openly and just said, look, there was a mistake, and it should end there.
Now let's look at the issue of the health minister, Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, who has continues to serve despite facing corruption charges. With Zimbabwe's president, having sacked his health minister for engaging in corruption, do you think we are doing the right thing when it comes to the fight against corruption in this country?
Yes and no. When you are being political, as the president is trying to be in this country, he should either suspend or drop my young brother, Chitalu Chilufya, on moral grounds, but also on political grounds. It sets the tone of behavior for the ministers. But when you're trying to be legalistic, and trying to say the Constitution, most of the decisions that pertain to ministers' appointments are moral. And as president, you have a moral duty to act and set the moral compass of this country in terms of how ministers will be expected to behave. I don't believe that my brother Chimbakambwiri was given that opportunity. I don't believe my sister Erin Kaban, she was given that opportunity. So why is Chitotela and Chitalu Chilufya being given that privilege of remaining in office? These are double standards. You must be principled. Do what's good for the goose and make it good for the gander. be principled and be equal to everybody. Do not show that you are discriminating in your leadership. That's what I see here. There's a problem.
So the president is being selective.
He is. With the greatest respect to my brother, my learned colleague, the president of this country, Edgar Shagalungu, he has been selective on that score. It is wrong. He should be presidential and political. Drop him. If you need him, bring him back. We saw it in the Kaunda days. Kaunda would fire a minister sitting in the front row of a press conference. 9 months later, you hear a press brief again, and the old man will be saying, the young man who took to the bottle, he has reformed. He has reformed. I'm giving him second chance, I'm bringing him back. We've heard this before. If you need Chitalu Chilufya that much, drop him. Let the investigations go. Let the trial go. If it's done, bring him back if you need him. But don't keep him. What message are you sending? First of all, it intimidates.
So what does
law
that say
enforcement.
about the fight against corruption?
It intimidates
If you still
law
keep somebody
enforcement.
who's being
I mean, there was a screaming headline the other day, Chitalu Chilufya innocent, according to State House. The president didn't say Chitalu Chilufya is innocent.
It's
Because
not
the
president's
trial,
job to find
no,
out
the
if
trial
it's-
hasn't even taken place. All the president did was just quote the Constitution. The Constitution says you're innocent until proven guilty. That's all the president was saying. But he doesn't say that Chitalu Chilufya is innocent. He has to go through the due process. The trial has to go on. So let's not have these screaming headlines which mislead people. And sometimes you people in the media also, you give these screaming headlines and you want people to get excited and
Because every media house has got their own agenda.
correct.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the thing.
And the problem is we don't control your headlines. That's for the sub-editors or editors, whichever.
But sometimes people just want numbers. They want to
Exactly.
sell.
Yeah. And some of the media people, we also know, they give you headlines which you want depending on whether or not they've taken Tungwe.
Now, the youth demonstrating in the bush after they were denied a permit to protest over the many challenges they are facing. What do you think is the solution to the challenges young people are facing in our country? I want to
First of all,
in a country called the democracy.
Let me give some advice to my young brother, the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Kampiongo. There is no need to abuse state machinery. You have the police in full force driving up and down the streets of Lusaka as if there are riots going on. There's no need. When you begin to annoy the youths and they begin to think and feel, they have no option but to go to the bush. You're digging your own grave and the grave of your political party. Don't think in this day and age we are going to be having the rallies that we used to have in the days of Assad with the COVID-19. It won't happen. The youths talk to themselves on social media. That is why they were able to beat you at your own game. You went in town parading motor vehicles, dressed in armored vehicles and dressed in combat, looking so foolish. The youths were dancing somewhere else and there were 300,000 people watching them on Facebook. How foolish can you be? People can talk to each other and they can circumvent the Public Order Act without you even knowing. You can have a meeting, you can have a virtual rally in this day and age. That is why some of these people in the PF leadership are backward. They think it's those days. No. There's people talking to each other without even you meeting, without you even having a face-to-face interaction. You can talk to 1 million people. Let's start changing our system of approach. And if you don't know what to do, ask. Some of us are ready to educate you. I'm not trying to insult my young brother, Honorable Kampiongo here. I'm just trying to give advice. He should change his tactics. His language has become confrontational. His language has become aggressive, even to his fellow members. I've seen clips, for instance, where he's holding meetings, even in Chuangandu, his own constituents. He's threatening people with arrest. Some old man puts up a hand and wants to ask him a question. Oh, not whatever police. just because you're Home Affairs Minister? Where does that start and end? Now, can you imagine that person being given more power? Let's be serious. My advice is, when you're a minister, read the law. Ask for advice. Get a think tank around yourselves and ask, how can I resolve this matter? How do we do this? You can't be blocking every application that asks for a permit. Peaceful protest is part of a democratic dispensation. If that was not the case, there wouldn't be change of leadership, change of political parties to rule this country. We were allowed by the movement for multi-party democracy. At least I remember Vasata was on radio almost every second week, going across the country to talk to the Zambian people. He was not arrested. No, he was allowed to speak. Demonstrations were on and off. He was allowed to speak. Let the youth speak their minds. That's what leadership is. If possible, meet them. What are you scared of? When people begin to get afraid to meet even the youths, it means there's something wrong. Something to the core is wrong. Like I said, leadership is not status. You can be given a ministerial position, but you're still not a leader. You're a boss.